Many years ago, I was taught that goal setting is the most important action anyone can take. Without goals, we wander aimlessly, and many times, those that don't have goals of their own end up achieving the goals of others because great leaders create a vision for others to follow so that they can achieve the goals that will lead them to their success. But here's the catch. Even though I have taught goal setting to hundreds of people, there's a dirty secret that I'm about to expose that will absolutely blow your mind. Goal setting doesn't work. Yeah, you heard me right. Goal setting does not work. Don't get me wrong, it's a great place to start if you don't have any reference. But the truth is that most goal setting techniques are simply designed to get you to start thinking bigger. Are you familiar with babies? Even if you don't have one of your own, you're probably familiar with, how babies work. When a baby is born, it has to be carried everywhere. The baby is not expected to do anything, and every place the baby goes is determined by its caregiver. At some point, the baby begins seeing further, and it begins to turn over, and it realizes that it has the ability to move itself with its arms and its legs. And then along about 8 or 9 months, the baby begins to crawl, and the whole new world opens up, right? No longer does the baby rely on its caregiver to move it from place to place. The baby can go places all by itself. This is the same thing with goal setting. There comes a time in all of our lives where we see that life is not scripted and that the structure of school and our family does not translate into the real world. For most of us, our goals are given to us by the people around us up until we graduate from high school. For some, life happens much quicker, and for others, it takes a few more years. But for most, we realize that life is more than grades and making our parents proud at around age 18 or so. You just rolled over. Now what? Well, you have to learn to crawl. That's where goal setting comes in. If we have a good mentor, trainer, or teacher in our life, they will help us to understand the importance of goal setting. If you take the exercise seriously, you'll create goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and trackable. Then you'll observe your progress. And if you're like many, you'll go through the exercise and rarely ever look at the goals again unless you achieve the goal and then you say, hey, I got it. Now, there is merit to this exercise. All is not lost if you've learned this technique, and the fact is that it's a great starting point. But the intention of goal setting is to look toward the future and to think a little bit bigger and to think more about what you really desire. Goals provide hope. Mark Tewart said that there's an acrostic for hope, HOPE, and that stands for having optimistic predictions and emotions. That's having optimistic predictions and emotions. However, goals can create your biggest stumbling block to actually achieving what you desire. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the only thing that will grow is that which you give energy to. And the problem with goal setting is that most people set a goal and immediately start to look at the how. They look at how the goal will be achieved. This how often leads to fear and anxiety because logic dictates that there will be barriers. We wonder if we'll have the willpower to overcome the obstacles. Have you ever tried to lose weight? Yeah, it looks great on paper, right? We think, oh yeah, I'll be able to lose weight. All I'll do is just cut back on what I'm gonna eat or change my diet a little bit. But we often wonder in that little spot in the back of our heads if we really have the willpower to do that. And this is a perfect example because at that point, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. This is where you have to learn to walk. Instead of focusing on the how, we need to focus on the why. When the why gets strong, the how gets easy. How many times have you heard people refer to the process of achieving goals as difficult or hard work? Oh, I work so difficult. It's so hard to do this. Well, usually The thoughts that are associated with how to achieve something invokes visions of struggle and difficulty, and none of us really enjoys that. Even a person with the best of intentions will often try hard for a while and then they just give up and quit. When you focus on why you want to achieve something, you invoke something called the law of attraction. And the law of attraction says that your thoughts and actions will attract similar thoughts and actions that will produce your desired results. To put it simply, traditional goal setting has you trying to get something instead of trying to attract the desired result. True power comes from knowing that you have a choice and that you have free will. Achieving your vision of the future only requires your decision. Once you've made the decision to do something, you don't have to worry about the obstacles that could get in the way. At that point, you can begin to think about, act on, and attract your desires. You see, willpower fails 100% of the time. This is why 92% of people have abandoned their New Year's resolutions 3 weeks into the new year. You see, we have 3 brains that control us. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but we have the monkey brain, the robot brain, and the sage brain. Now, the monkey brain is the part of us that is easily distracted and has us jumping from idea to idea. The robot brain is reserved for things that we do automatically, like a morning routine or driving a car. And the sage brain is the logic part of our brain, and it is the one that creates the goals and the hurdles that foil our success. Making a decision is really the hardest part of all of this. But making the decision based on a why gives you something bigger to focus on, and that allows the 3 brains to work together to achieve success. The problem with goal setting without understanding the power and process of your mind is that our goal setting can create the exact opposite of what we are trying to achieve. Often you'll set goals with the intention of solving a problem, and that can cause us to focus on what we don't want to happen. Think back about my example about losing weight. You know, sometimes we focus so much on the food that we end up eating more of the food that we shouldn't eat, or eating more of the food that we're supposed to eat, but we eat so much that we consume more calories, so we're focusing on what we don't want to happen instead of focusing on the why, which is how great life will be once we lose that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. At that moment, you will attract the people and the things and events that match what you focus on. And it will be amplified and multiplied, and it will end up making the problem bigger rather than fixing the problem. Let me tell you a little bit of story about somebody who was focused on the wrong thing. At the 2004 Olympic Games in London, Matt Emmons competed in a 50-meter rifle event. Going into his final shot, Emmons was in first place, and he needed only a mediocre score for gold, something really any amateur could achieve. He stepped up to the bar, he lowered his rifle, he took aim very carefully, and he pulled slowly on the trigger. The shot went off, and he hit the bullseye. He was excited until he realized that he had shot at the wrong target. He was 1 lane over, and he got no score at all. He ended up finishing 8th in that competition because of focus. Self-sabotage is the underlying reason for most of your struggles, conflicts, and limitations. To eliminate self-sabotage and truly get what you desire, you must first decide what you want, and then become clear with why you desire it, and then trust in your desire. Trust your gut. It's okay. So here's the question. Why do you want to achieve the goals you have set for yourself?